Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're watching this, you're probably extremely close to pulling the trigger on a BMW 330e. But you've done the wise thing and watched this video first. I'm going to share with you the number one thing you need to 100% check your 330e has before buying it. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now what I'm about to share with you is incredibly secret. It's not really. I've mentioned it numerous times on my other 330e videos, but I thought it'd be useful to do a separate video on it, because if I bought one without this feature, I would have massive regrets. Yeah, I'd have buyer's remorse. So I feel like I'm doing you a favor in isolating it and put it as a separate video to help you guys out. Because for me, without it, the car just isn't as good. And it is 100% my number one recommended feature for this car. And it's the adaptive suspension. It sounds really obvious. And you know, other reviewers have probably said this as well. But by far and away, it is the best feature to have on the 330e. And to be honest, probably the 3 Series in general. I think because of the weight of this car, it makes more sense to have it in this. But saying that, you know, I've got a friend who's got a 320i, and he doesn't have the adaptive suspension. He's just got the standard M Sport suspension. And the difference between these two cars is unreal. You know, you probably think like, oh, is it just a marketing gimmick? You know, is it just an extra feature that BMW are trying to con me out of my money? But it's really not. Honestly, the quality of the suspension in this, it kind of makes me forget I'm in a 3 Series. Look, I know these are, you know, extremely nice German saloons. I wouldn't define it as luxury, but it's pretty close to it. And I kind of have to remind myself that I am just in a 3 Series. You know, I feel like sometimes I'm in a 5 Series or a 7 Series or an A6 because the ride is just that good. You know, this has the upgraded alloys with the, you know, obviously the lower profile tyre, and it's on run flats, which are normally horrendous. But it still rides really good. So I shudder to think what it'd be like if you actually put it on, you know, sort of smaller wheels and softer tyres. I think you'd probably feel like you're floating on a cloud. That's an awful analogy, isn't it? God, sort your life out. Right, so we know it's really good. How do you actually know if the car you're looking at has it? So unless you have a really delicate arse and you've never actually test driven these, I think you'd really struggle to tell. If you've already test driven a standard M Sport suspension one, then yeah, I think you'd know immediately. But yeah, unless you're blessed with the buttocks of Niki Lauda, again, that's a really niche reference. It's from Rush.
My ass.
Sorry?
God gave me an okay mind, but the really good ass which can feel everything in a car.
So how can you actually tell it's got the adaptive suspension? Well, the easiest way to tell is on the center console, there's an array of buttons. You've got Sport, Hybrid, Electric, Adaptive, and then Auto Hold. So the Adaptive button is between the Electric and the Auto Hold button. Now, if the car doesn't have it, this will just be blanked off. So you'll have no button that says Adaptive. So look out for this one. So that's the main reason how you tell. Unfortunately, I found that a lot of dealers didn't sort of photograph the interior in that much detail. You know, they gave you an overarching sort of image of the dashboard and, you know, maybe a bit of the center console, but the photos were that bad that, you know, you can't actually see the buttons in detail. You know, I found myself sort of zooming in to ridiculous lengths just to see if it had it or not, and I still couldn't tell. So there is actually another way, and it's not a foolproof method, but the adaptive suspension is usually also linked to the upgraded brakes and the upgraded alloys. So I'll chuck up some photos. Here are the standard M Sport wheels that you get. And here are the wheels that you can get on the M Sport Pro/Plus packs. You can also tell by not only the wheels, but they also have upgraded brake discs and calipers. So look for the blue calipers, and I guarantee it'll usually have the upgraded alloys along with the adaptive suspension. I've yet to find one, on a 330e that is, that doesn't have the adaptive suspension when it also has those pieces of kit. I'm not sure if it's the same for the 320i or the 320d, but that's kind of how I figured it out. So yeah, hopefully that should give you a bit of an idea of what to look for. Positives as well is a lot of dealers don't really mark up the price for the adaptive suspension. Funnily enough, when I found this one from the people I bought it for, they didn't even mention it in the description. I already knew what I was looking for, so win-win. You might save yourself a little bit of money there. So those are all the positives and how to actually look for it. Are there any bad points? I'd say the only bad point, and again, I've said it before in previous videos, is, you know, this car does iron out all the large imperfections of the road. It handles British roads really well. We all know how terrible the roads are in the UK. especially like rural country roads that I'm on right now. This thing absolutely mops them up. But the one thing that catches it out, and I find it really odd, is sort of small but deep, I guess, I won't say imperfections, small deep potholes. The kind of ones that you won't see for ages up until you're right on them. When this hits them, it's almost like the front end just takes a massive whack. I think just because they're so small and deep, it just catches the adaptive suspension out. When I first got it, I was quite shocked at how bad it was sometimes. But, that's very rare it does that, and I kind of know what to look out for when I'm driving now. If I see them, I will slightly avoid them. Good God, this weather is awful. So yeah, that's probably the only negatives of them. But look, the pros far outweigh the cons in respect to the adaptive suspension. And that's the reason why, it's my number one buying tip. Just make sure you've got it, because it turns the BMW in just to an absolute pleasure to drive. So there you go, guys. Appreciate that's a short video. And for some of you, it might be a really obvious one, but there's not that many reviews that cover this in that much detail. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to achieve, just making sure that everyone's covered in respect to a bit of buying advice and letting you guys know what to look out for and what this car's actually like to live with. So I hope you found it useful. If you did and you enjoyed it, do give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, do give that button a little slap for me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, guys.